Acres of Diamonds by Russell H. Conwell, 1921. In a nutshell, whatever you desire is probably close at hand, if you are willing to open your eyes and your mind. Russell Conwell once went on a trip along the Tigris River in present-day Iraq, using a guide hired in Baghdad who was to take him out to the Persian Gulf. These river guides were like barbers in that they liked to talk, but the story this one told, Conwell insists, is easily verified. There was a man, Hafed, who lived on the banks of the river Indus, who had a nice farm with orchards and gardens, excess cash, a beautiful wife, and children. He was wealthy because he was contented. Then an old priest visited him, and one night related how the world was made, including the formation of all the rocks, the earth, the precious metals, and stones. He told the farmer that if he had a few diamonds, he could have not merely one farm, but many. The farmer listened. Suddenly he wasn't that happy with what he had thus far acquired in life. He sold up and went traveling in search of diamonds across Persia, Palestine, and into Europe. A couple of years later, what money he had was gone, and he was wandering around in rags. When a large wave came in from the sea, he was happily swept under by it. The man who had bought the farmer's land was another story. One day, watering his animals in the stream that ran through the property, he noticed a glint in the watery sands. It was a diamond. In fact, it was one of the richest diamond finds in history. The mines of Golconda would yield not just one or two, but acres of diamonds. Open your mind. In this tiny book, which is actually a transcript of a hugely popular lecture that he gave, Conwell relates similar true-life stories about the folly of going off to find your fortune when it's in your own backyard or staring you in the face. He suggests that most people are pygmies of their possible selves, because they're not willing to accept, or it didn't occur to them, that they have great untouched powers. Families don't credit their own folks with abilities they attribute to other persons. Towns and cities are cursed because their own people talked them down. Conwell's message is that we shouldn't fall into the trap of thinking that all the great people and businesses are somewhere else. Consider that Henry Ford started designing and building his car on his own farm and built the famous Ford factories in the area where he'd grown up. There was nothing special about Dearborn, Michigan. He made it special, without ever leaving his own backyard. Great investor Warren Buffett decided against moving his family to Wall Street. He stayed in Omaha, Nebraska, and made his billions there. The discovery of true service. Conwell's other theme is that great service is basic to prosperity. He tells of the financier John Jacob Astor the Elder, who suddenly had to go into partnership in a millinery store because the owners couldn't keep up their mortgage payments. What did he do to get this business on its feet? He would go into the park and quietly watch the women strolling along, particularly the most confident and elegant, and take careful note of the hats they were sporting. Back in the store, he had these hats copied exactly. The result was that the store never made a hat or bonnet that a lady didn't like, and it boomed. Left behind was the idea that we make hats and try to sell them, to be replaced by what women want, we sell. From such basic service erupts great success. In this case, a store that even in the 19th century made $17 million. You may think you have already considered it, but ask again, what do people want? The problem with most people, Conwell says, is that their wealth is too near. You need to develop an open mind to spot the obvious. This will never happen if you're continually speeding off to the next opportunity, looking for greener pasture. Genuine service is simple, but it may only occur to you what this is when your mind has been quieted. Without finding some quiet time to yourself, you will not be able to see the wood for the trees. Leave time for meditation and contemplation, and answers will come. Another way to start is by thinking about what you need. Chances are that if you need something, others will too. The woman who invented the snap button, first used in gloves, made her fortune this way. Conwell emphasizes it's the open-mindedness to little things that brings human success. The greatest minds think in simple terms, and the greatest people, Conwell says, are always straightforward. You can't succeed if you have no interest in people and their needs. In Conwell's words, you must make yourself necessary to the world. What all great people have in common is that they make themselves a medium for good. They make the best products and provide them to the largest number. This, not taking money at a till, is service. Final comments. Acres of Diamonds might seem to be from another era, but Conwell was one of the original American motivational speakers, and his talk can still inspire. It costs next to nothing to buy, can be read in about half an hour, and every so often you may like to be reminded of its two lessons, which are so simple but so useful to remember. There's no need to look beyond yourself and your immediate circumstances to find the seeds of your fortune. Service is the key to success. Don't just sell things. Find out what people really want. This requires greater than normal thought and observation. Russell H. Conwell. Russell Herman Conwell was born in Worthington, Massachusetts in 1843. He attended Yale College, and in 1862, not yet 20, he raised a company of volunteer soldiers and fought on the Yankee side in the Civil War as a commissioned captain. After the war, Conwell studied at Albany Law School and practiced law, but later went to work as a reporter for the Boston Evening Traveler. He traveled around the world for another journal, the American Traveler, and was 27 when he journeyed down the Tigris River. His wife died when he was still in his 20s. In his third career, in 1882, Conwell was invited to become pastor of a newly built Baptist church in Philadelphia. He would serve in this role for 43 years, also becoming a popular lecturer at the Lyceum and other circuits, and writing a number of books. Easily his most popular lecture was Acres of Diamonds, which he gave over 5,000 times and earned him, it is said, $1 million. With the money, he founded Temple University in Philadelphia. He died in 1925.